okay, curious. Maybe this isn't a thing, but I have this idea, and I've tried to find other things to actually make it more legitimate. Things people have talked about, and places in history, or concepts of thought and politics and economics that have already been established, but I can't seem to find it. Maybe it's there, I don't know. Maybe it's just it's nonsense. I don't know. But I've always said that I'm a small government social conservative, a libertarian, but I'm a post-scarcity futurist, which is kind of an authoritarian economic progressive. I wish it wasn't authoritarianism, but when you start talking about post-scarcity, there's just, it's very regulated. So, what can you do? But anyway, my whole idea is that, by the way, this is a response, or not a response, but at least inspired by Kazum's video. He was talking about YouTube is a company, and as a company, it can do what it wants. And no problem with him, he's cool. I like him. He's a friend. It's just that sometimes he says things that I just want to stand up and cheer, and other times he'll say things that'll just make my blood boil. Not at him, but at the idea that he's espousing. And sometimes I wonder if he's really going back and forth on things, just to stir the pot. You know what I mean? But I don't know. But in any case, he said that YouTube, as a company, could do what it wants. And the reason that makes me bristle is because my idea of being both a social conservative libertarian and an economic progressive authoritarian is, as a post-scarcity futurist, is that I see physical capital as an aspect of social capital, and vice versa. If I think one way to look at my ideals, my post-scarcity futurist ideals, and being a social conservative, is that I see how do I put this? If I treated physical or social capital as physical capital, I would be a social conservative libertarian. I would be a straight libertarian. Maybe even an Ayn Rand objectivist. But because I don't see it that way, I see social capital the way an economic conservative would see physical capital. Instead of a free market of ideas, deregulated, anarcho social capitalist, but not Marxist, because that's authoritarian, and it's also garbage. I guess I'm actually a civic nationalist. I hate using the term nationalist, but, well, I don't like the idea of state-owned industry, but as a post-scarcity futurist, I do want heavy regulations on economics, even though that makes me cringe at certain times. But, I want the environmentalism, I want the freaking universal health care, I want the freaking living wage, I want minimum wage, minimum guaranteed wage. I want a lot of post-scarcity things. And when I say post-scarcity, I mean near post-scarcity, because I don't think you can have full post-scarcity. I'm that kind of post-scarcity person, which is a near post-scarcity person, which is basically talking about a resource-rich society. And how do you do this magic hand wavium and create this resource-rich society? I believe it's futurism. And but I that gets off into another video, because I've talked about techno-agrarianism, how you can have a balanced society with biofuels and other renewables, and a minimum population that can support a certain area. That you have to find a way to have it sustainable, and by having it sustainable, you have to have some kind of balance. And that's my problem with social justice, is that it just wastes social capital, because it tries to regulate things that just aren't regulatable. It's in an abysmal hand of I forgot what it was. The abysmal hand, and it's like, that just won't work. So the point is, when I see something like, they're saying, when someone says something like, YouTube has a right to do whatever it wants, no, the social capital is gobbling up with its physical capital, is creating a cultural antitrust, a cultural monopoly. And that just destroys anything that can have a free market of ideas. Like VidMe went out of business. Freaking Vimeo only supports a niche a niche audience. Who else? Facebook is a different kind of platform, and we all know about Facebook and how they sell your information. Google made YouTube too big to fail. It's just like the banks that are too big to fail, and all these other things that just destroy freaking any aspect of what could be a resource-rich society, and a more socially egalitarian one in terms of social capital to physical capital. But like I said, I'm a libertarian conservative, so social libertarian conservative, so I don't really care about social justice. I just care about social capital, and as a libertarian aspect. So yeah, I got a big problem with YouTube regulating freaking algorithms, the partner program, freaking the copyright laws in general, and a few other things. if you could see the point, that's ruining the free market of ideas. It's over-regulated and it's overreach. And I was watching this video about antitrust, and what it is it blocks entry. It's a monopoly, but it's a monopoly on a cultural level, so no one really cares. I don't know. That's my problem with it. And until I learn more about economics and some of these concepts I'm talking about, I don't really think I can make a more poignant point of why this is a bad thing. Or maybe it's just a pipe dream. I don't know. But that's my point, and that's why I think this is a bad thing. I really do.